Picture this. You wake up one morning and nothing feels wrong, yet nothing feels right. Your life looks respectable from the outside. Your choices make sense. Your path appears reasonable. But deep down, there's a quiet discomfort you can't name. Because this life isn't entirely yours. Your career wasn't chosen from curiosity, it was chosen from expectation. Your lifestyle wasn't shaped by desire, it was shaped by acceptance. Even your daily decisions pass through a silent filter before you act. What will people think? And that single question has been running your life for years. Most people never notice when it happens. There's no dramatic moment, no collapse, no warning sign, just a slow adjustment, one compromise at a time, until you wake up living someone else's idea of success. 5 centuries ago, a man observed this pattern long before social media, corporate culture, or modern pressure existed. He wrote something that still feels uncomfortable today. The greatest mistake you can make is living for the approval of others. That statement wasn't meant to offend, it was meant to wake you up. This isn't about becoming selfish, cold, or cruel. It's not about rejecting everyone around you. It's about understanding a brutal psychological truth most people avoid. When you live to please others, you don't win their respect, you lose yourself. And the tragedy is subtle. You don't notice the loss immediately. You notice it years later, when motivation fades, when resentment creeps in, when regret starts asking questions you don't want to answer. Here's the paradox no one warns you about. The more you seek approval, the less powerful you become. The more you perform for others, the more invisible your real self grows. The more you try to be liked, the more anxious and replaceable you feel. Approval feels safe, but it's a prison, and the bars are invisible. Every compliment becomes a leash. Every criticism becomes a threat. Every opinion becomes a vote on your worth. You hand control of your emotional state to people who aren't living your life, won't carry your regrets, and won't face the consequences of your choices, and yet you obey them. Because approval feels like security. But here's the harsh reality most people never accept. People's opinions are unstable currency. Today they praise you, tomorrow they question you. Today they support your decision, tomorrow they doubt it. Today they admire your confidence, tomorrow they call it arrogance. If your identity is built on this shifting foundation, anxiety becomes your default state. You're constantly adjusting, constantly monitoring, constantly editing yourself to match expectations that change without warning. You hesitate before speaking. You delay before acting. You abandon ideas before they're born. Think about your own life. How many decisions have you postponed because someone might disapprove? How many opportunities have you avoided because judgment felt uncomfortable? How many dreams did you quietly bury, not because they were impossible, but because they were inconvenient for others? The relationship you didn't pursue, the business you didn't start, the city you didn't move to, the version of yourself you never allowed to exist. All sacrificed to maintain approval from people who were never meant to steer your life. And here's the cruelest part. Those people won't be there when regret shows up at 3 in the morning. They won't carry the weight of your unused potential. They won't feel the emptiness of a life half-lived. They'll be busy living their lives, making their choices, while you sit in the waiting room of their approval. Most of the judgment you fear doesn't even exist. People are too consumed with their own insecurities to obsess over yours. That imagined audience in your head, it's mostly fiction. Living for yourself doesn't mean ignoring others. It means choosing your values over imaginary opinions. It means accepting a truth most people resist. Disapproval is unavoidable. Regret is optional. The moment you stop performing, something changes. You breathe differently. You decide faster. You move with clarity instead of hesitation. Because for the first time, you're not asking for permission. You're claiming ownership. And that's where the real journey begins. There's a word society has trained you to fear. Selfish. From a young age, you were taught that prioritizing yourself is dangerous, that wanting more is greedy, that saying no is rude, that putting your needs first makes you a bad person. So you learned to override yourself. You gave time you didn't have. You carried responsibilities that weren't yours. You stayed available even when you were exhausted. And you told yourself it was virtue. But here's the uncomfortable truth most people never face. Chronic self-sacrifice doesn't make you noble, it makes you depleted. And a depleted person is not kind. They're resentful, they're bitter, they're quietly angry at the very people they keep serving. This is where strategic selfishness enters, and why it's so widely misunderstood. Strategic selfishness is not cruelty, it's not exploitation, it's not stepping on others to get ahead. It's understanding that you cannot pour from an empty cup, no matter how good your intentions are. Think of the oxygen mask rule on airplanes. You're instructed to secure your own mask first before helping anyone else. Not because you matter more, but because if you collapse, you help no one. Yet in real life, you've been taught the opposite. Put others first at all costs, ignore your limits, delay your needs, earn rest instead of requiring it. And the result? Burnout disguised as responsibility, self-neglect mistaken for kindness, resentment hidden behind smiles. People who constantly give without boundaries don't become saints, they become martyrs. And martyrs are useful to others, but miserable to themselves. Look closely at the people who guilt you when you set boundaries. They're often the ones benefiting most from your lack of them. Strategic selfishness means recognizing one non-negotiable truth. Your well-being is the foundation of everything you can offer. Your energy, your clarity, your patience, your ability to show up fully. When that foundation is cracked, everything built on it becomes unstable. This is why the most impactful people in history were not endlessly accommodating. They guarded their time, they protected their energy, they chose their commitments carefully. Not because they lacked compassion, but because they understood leverage. A strong, focused, fulfilled individual contributes more than a drained one ever could. Strategic selfishness shows up in small, uncomfortable decisions. Saying no without providing a long explanation. Protecting your morning routine even when others demand access. Spending money on growth instead of appearances. Choosing fulfillment over optics. It's choosing the career that aligns with you, not the one that looks impressive to strangers. It's resting before you collapse, not after. It's stepping back before resentment poisons your relationships. This doesn't mean you stop caring about others. It means you stop abandoning yourself to prove that you do. Because here's the paradox no one talks about. When you prioritize your needs responsibly, you become more generous, not less. More patient, more present, more capable of real contribution. But when you ignore yourself, generosity turns into obligation, and obligation turns into resentment. And resentment eventually leaks out, in passive aggression, in emotional withdrawal, in quiet bitterness you don't want to admit. Strategic selfishness is choosing long-term strength over short-term approval. It's understanding that being endlessly available makes you predictable, not valuable. That being exhausted doesn't make you admirable, it makes you ineffective. And, most importantly, it's realizing this. People who truly respect you will adjust to your boundaries. People who don't will try to punish you for having them. That reaction tells you everything you need to know. When you stop negotiating your worth through self-sacrifice, something shifts. Your decisions feel cleaner, your energy returns, your resentment fades. You stop giving to be liked, you start giving because you can. That's the difference. Strategic selfishness isn't about taking more from the world, it's about refusing to give yourself away. And once you stop leaking your energy everywhere, you begin to realize something powerful. You were never meant to be endlessly accessible. You were meant to be intentional.
Most people spend their entire lives trying to protect something that isn't real. Their reputation. What people think of you feels solid, important, even urgent, but it's fragile by nature. It exists entirely outside of you, in the unstable minds of others. And yet, countless lives are quietly sacrificed in service of maintaining it. Here's the mistake almost everyone makes. They confuse reputation with identity. Reputation is who people think you are. Identity is who you actually are. And the more energy you spend managing the first, the more disconnected you become from the second. From a young age, you're trained to perform. Be impressive, be respectable, be acceptable. Don't say the wrong thing, don't want the wrong thing, don't become the wrong thing. So you learn to curate yourself. You polish your image. You soften your edges. You hide contradictions, doubts, and ambition. In the modern world, this performance has been amplified. Social platforms reward presentation over truth. Highlight reels replace reality. Filters replace honesty. Everyone becomes their own public relations manager. But behind the scenes, something erodes. Your clarity, your confidence, your sense of self. Because maintaining a reputation is exhausting, it requires constant monitoring, constant adjustment, constant fear of misinterpretation. One wrong move, one misunderstood action, one unpopular opinion, and suddenly, everything you've built feels threatened. Here's the truth most people never accept. You cannot control how others perceive you. No matter how careful you are, someone will misunderstand you. Someone will project their insecurities onto your choices. Someone will reduce your complexity into a label that makes sense to them. If your sense of worth depends on universal approval, peace becomes impossible. That's why people who live for reputation live cautiously. They avoid risks, they avoid honesty, they avoid growth. Because growth changes how you're perceived, and perception feels dangerous when it defines you. But powerful people understand something different. They know who they are, even when others don't. They anchor themselves to values, not applause. They act from identity, not image. Here's a question that reveals everything. If your reputation vanished tomorrow, if every opinion about you disappeared, what would remain? Your skills, your character, your values, your relationships with people who actually know you. That is your identity. And unlike reputation, it doesn't require maintenance. It doesn't collapse under criticism. It doesn't change because someone misunderstands you. When you prioritize identity over reputation, something liberating happens. You stop editing yourself for safety. You stop explaining yourself unnecessarily. You stop fearing mistakes as social disasters. You become willing to fail publicly, to try without guarantees, to evolve without asking permission. Ironically, this authenticity often creates a stronger reputation than careful image management ever could. Because people don't respect perfection, they respect realness. They trust those who are consistent internally even if they're imperfect externally. They follow those who stand for something even when it costs them approval. The most respected individuals aren't universally liked. They're clear, they're grounded, they're unapologetic about who they are becoming. Living for yourself means making peace with this truth. Some people will like you less when you stop performing. Some will criticize you when you stop explaining. Some will misunderstand you when you stop shrinking. And that's not a problem, it's a filter. When reputation no longer controls you, fear loses its leverage. You stop being reactive. You stop living defensively. You move from asking, "How will this look?" to asking, "Is this aligned with who I am?" That shift changes everything. Your decisions become cleaner. Your confidence becomes quieter but stronger. Your life becomes harder to manipulate. Because now, even if people disagree with you, you remain intact. And that's real power.
There's a lie that feels comforting, and that's exactly why it's dangerous. The lie is this: playing it safe will protect you. From the outside, safety looks responsible. A stable job, a predictable routine, a life that doesn't raise eyebrows. Nothing too bold, nothing too risky, nothing that might fail publicly. But beneath that surface, something slowly decays. Your hunger, your curiosity, your sense of possibility. Comfort doesn't feel like a cage at first. It feels like relief. Relief from uncertainty, relief from judgment, relief from effort. But over time, comfort turns into stagnation, and stagnation quietly becomes regret. Most people don't fail dramatically. They fade gradually. They take the reasonable path again and again until one day they realize they've been reasonable their entire life and fulfilled in none of it. Here's what no one tells you. The safe path isn't actually safe. That stable job can disappear with a single meeting. That comfortable relationship can slowly suffocate your identity. That silence you keep to avoid conflict erases your voice one day at a time. Safety gives the illusion of control, but it offers no guarantees. And the cost of avoiding risk isn't neutrality, it's mediocrity. Calculated risk is different from recklessness. It's not chaos, it's not blind leaps or impulsive decisions. Calculated risk is conscious discomfort in service of growth. It's understanding that every meaningful outcome requires exposure to uncertainty. Every promotion requires the risk of rejection. Every business requires the risk of failure. Every honest relationship requires the risk of loss. Every authentic life requires the risk of disapproval. The people who shape their lives don't wait until fear disappears. They move while fear is present. They don't ask, "Is this safe?" They ask, "Is this aligned?" Aligned with growth instead of comfort. Aligned with potential instead of approval. Aligned with long-term fulfillment instead of short-term relief. Most people wait to feel ready, but readiness is a myth. You don't feel ready before growth, you feel ready after you move. Think about the moments that changed your life. You weren't calm, you weren't certain, you weren't fully prepared. You acted anyway. Comfortable mediocrity thrives on delay. Later, when the timing is better. When I'm more confident. When people understand. But later quietly turns into never. The truth is uncomfortable but freeing. No one is coming to give you permission. No moment arrives where the path is perfectly clear. No approval stamp appears to make risk painless. No guarantee eliminates uncertainty. Waiting for certainty is choosing stagnation. Calculated risk means accepting short-term discomfort for long-term clarity. It means speaking even when your voice shakes, starting before you feel capable, leaving situations that feel familiar but dead. It means risking embarrassment instead of lifelong regret. Most people fear being judged more than being unfulfilled. They fear looking foolish more than feeling empty. But here's the paradox. Judgment fades quickly. Regret compounds. People might talk about your failure for a week. You'll live with unfulfilled potential for decades. History doesn't remember those who played it safe. They forget them completely. The people who are remembered, whether admired or criticized, are those who acted when others hesitated. They chose growth over comfort, movement over approval, risk over paralysis. This doesn't mean reckless leaps. It means intentional courage. Ask yourself honest questions. What am I avoiding because it might disrupt comfort? What version of my life requires risk to exist? What decision am I postponing to avoid judgment? The answers are usually clear and inconvenient. Calculated risk is not about fearlessness. It's about refusing to let fear make decisions for you. When fear leads, your life shrinks. When values lead, fear becomes background noise. Every significant achievement in your life will demand something from you. Your time, your certainty, your current identity, your comfort. The question is not whether you'll pay a price. The question is which price you're willing to pay. The price of action or the price of regret. The price of discomfort or the price of mediocrity. Most people unconsciously choose the second because it feels familiar. But once you see the trade clearly, comfort loses its appeal. Growth always feels risky before it feels right, but stagnation always feels safe until it feels unbearable. Calculated risk isn't a phase, it's a way of living, a commitment to movement over paralysis, a refusal to let safety become a silent executioner of potential. And once you choose growth deliberately, something changes. You stop asking for certainty. You stop waiting for confidence. You stop living in rehearsal mode. You step into the only place real life exists: forward.
There's a habit that quietly drains more energy than almost anything else: explaining yourself. Not communicating, not sharing, not clarifying with people who matter, but constantly justifying your choices to people who don't. It starts innocently. You make a decision. Someone questions it, and suddenly you feel the urge to defend yourself. So you explain. You provide context. You offer reasons. You try to make them understand. And without realizing it, you've handed them power. Because the moment you feel required to justify your life choices, you're no longer standing on your own authority. You're asking for permission after the fact. Most people don't notice how often they do this. Why they chose that career. Why they're not married yet. Why they changed routines. Why they said no. Why they're tired. Why they're different now. Explanation becomes a reflex. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Constant explanation is not a sign of respect, it's a sign of insecurity. When you explain yourself to everyone, you're silently saying, "My peace depends on your understanding." And that's a dangerous contract to sign, because not everyone is asking to understand you. Some are asking to evaluate you. Some are asking to control you. Some are simply uncomfortable with your independence. And no amount of explanation will ever satisfy them. People who respect you don't require long defenses. People who don't respect you won't be convinced by them anyway. So what's the point? Here's what actually happens when you over-explain. You weaken your decisions. You invite debate where none was needed. You turn personal choices into public discussions. And once your life becomes a discussion, everyone feels entitled to an opinion. Powerful people understand the value of strategic silence. They don't announce every move. They don't seek validation through explanation. They let actions speak where words would be wasted. This doesn't mean being cold or secretive. It means recognizing the difference between sharing and defending. Sharing is voluntary. Defending is reactive. Sharing happens with people who've earned access. Defending happens with people who question your authority over your own life. Think about how much energy you've lost in explanation mode. That family member who questions every decision. That friend who just wants to understand but always pushes back. That acquaintance who feels entitled to an opinion on your lifestyle. Hours of emotional labor, endless conversations, no resolution. And yet, you keep trying. Because on some level, you believe that if you just explain clearly enough, they'll finally approve. But approval is not the reward for explanation. Compliance is. When you explain excessively, you teach people that your boundaries are negotiable, that your decisions require consensus, that your life is open for debate. And once that pattern is established, it's hard to break, unless you're willing to be uncomfortable. Stopping explanation feels rude at first. It feels abrupt. It feels like you're withholding something. But what you're actually doing is reclaiming authority. You're saying, "I've made this decision. I'm comfortable with it. I don't need external validation to proceed." This shift changes how people treat you. Some will respect it immediately. Some will push harder. Some will feel offended. Those reactions are revealing. People who benefited from your self-doubt will resist your confidence. People who relied on your over-availability will test your boundaries. People who controlled you through questioning will lose leverage. And that discomfort you feel? That's the cost of self-respect. You don't owe everyone access to your reasoning. You don't owe everyone clarity. You don't owe everyone reassurance. Your life is not a courtroom where every choice must be defended. When you stop explaining, you send a quiet but powerful message. I trust myself. And trust is contagious. Others begin to treat your decisions as settled. Your words carry more weight because they're no longer padded with insecurity. Your presence becomes firmer, calmer, less reactive. This doesn't mean being cold or secretive. It means recognizing the difference between sharing and defending. You explain to those who matter. You share with those who support. You stay silent with those who judge. That discernment is maturity, because the goal isn't to be understood by everyone, it's to be aligned with yourself. The moment you stop explaining is the moment your life stops being a negotiation. And that's when real freedom begins.
There comes a moment, quiet, unspectacular, easy to miss, when you realize something fundamental. No one is coming to live your life for you, and no one is responsible for the life you don't live. This is the final threshold, the point where insight must become action, where understanding turns into ownership. Up until now, you may have believed that living for yourself required permission, from parents, from partners, from society, from timing, from circumstances. But permission never arrives, because the people benefiting from your compliance have no incentive to grant it, and the systems that reward conformity don't applaud independence. So the decision becomes internal. Living for yourself doesn't begin with rebellion, it begins with loyalty. Loyalty to your values instead of expectations. Loyalty to your vision instead of comfort. Loyalty to your future instead of others' convenience. This is where many people hesitate, because loyalty to yourself comes with consequences. You will disappoint people. You will be misunderstood. You will outgrow relationships that once felt essential. You will change, and not everyone will celebrate that. That's not cruelty, that's growth. Every meaningful evolution requires shedding old skins, old roles, old agreements you never consciously chose. Staying loyal to everyone else's expectations is not kindness, it's self-betrayal. And self-betrayal always collects interest. It shows up as quiet resentment, as exhaustion without cause, as the haunting sense that you're capable of more, but trapped in less. Choosing yourself interrupts that cycle. It means accepting a difficult truth most people avoid. You cannot become who you're meant to be and remain who everyone is comfortable with. The two are incompatible. Living for yourself doesn't mean abandoning people. It means refusing to abandon your purpose. It means having honest conversations instead of silent resentment. It means saying, I love you, but I can't live your vision for my life. It means allowing relationships to evolve or end without seeing that as failure. Some people will adjust. Some will resist. Some will exit. Let them. Those who truly care about you want your growth, even when it challenges them. Those who guilt you for evolving are invested in your stagnation. That distinction becomes clear only when you stop negotiating your direction. Another truth becomes unavoidable at this stage. You will be misunderstood. Confidence will be labeled arrogance. Boundaries will be labeled selfishness. Independence will be labeled coldness. Ambition will be labeled ego. That's the price of authenticity. Trying to prevent misunderstanding shrinks your life. Accepting it expands your freedom. The most impactful people in the world are never universally liked. They're clear, they're grounded, they're unapologetic about their direction. Being misunderstood is not a flaw. It's evidence that you're no longer living as a reflection of others' expectations. And finally, everything converges here: your time. Your time is your life in its rawest form. Every hour you give away unwillingly is a piece of your existence you'll never reclaim. Every obligation you accept out of guilt instead of alignment is a trade you'll one day regret. Living for yourself means treating time as sacred, auditing where it goes, protecting it fiercely, spending it intentionally. It means saying no without guilt, canceling without apology, choosing depth over availability.
Not because you're selfish, but because you understand the maths of existence. Time spent pleasing others is time not spent building the life you want, and no amount of approval will compensate for a life that doesn't feel like yours. The final act of living for yourself is defining success on your own terms. Not the version handed to you, not the version that impresses, not the version that photographs well, but the version that actually satisfies you. Maybe success is freedom over status. Maybe it's peace over power. Maybe it's meaning over money. Maybe it's simplicity over recognition. Whatever it is, it must be yours, because climbing someone else's ladder perfectly still leaves you empty at the top. Write your definition privately, live by it publicly, accept the consequences calmly. That's maturity. This isn't about becoming ruthless, it's about becoming deliberate. You get one life, not a rehearsal, not a draft, one. Centuries ago, a harsh observer of human nature understood what many still resist. A life spent performing for the crowd is a life never fully lived. The moment you stop asking for approval, stop explaining, stop delaying, stop shrinking, you reclaim something essential: your agency, your direction, your self-respect. And the question that remains is simple but uncomfortable. Will you continue playing the role others wrote for you? Or will you finally claim the life that's been waiting for your decision? The choice has always been yours.